Welcome to US Briefing. The content of the briefing includes Knicks takeaways from Tuesday's 123-110 preseason loss to Celtics, including a strong performance from Quentin Grimes. Former Mets ace Jacob deGrom pushes back on narrative he wanted out of New York. Andrew Friedman bemoans Dodgers' latest organizational failure, but hints at little change. Bug-out bags and survival training go mainstream. Bosses have a problem, people are actually using sick days. Knicks takeaways from Tuesday's 123-110 preseason loss to Celtics, including a strong performance from Quentin Grimes. Yahoo! The New York Knicks were beaten 123-110 by the Boston Celtics in their preseason game on Tuesday night. The Knicks fielded a starting five of Deuce McBride, Dante DiVincenzo, Quentin Grimes, Jericho Sims and Mitchell Robinson. The Celtics, meanwhile, fielded a strong starting lineup including Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and former Knicks player Kristaps Porzingis. In the second quarter, Boston went on a 12-0 run to take a 25-point lead before the Knicks fought back to reduce the deficit to 18 by halftime. Former Mets ace Jacob deGrom pushes back on narrative he wanted out of New York. Yahoo! Texas Rangers pitcher Jacob deGrom has said he was surprised that the New York Mets became sellers after a 101-win season. The 35-year-old, who has had 2 Tommy John surgeries in his career, admitted to the New York Post that he was surprised by the Mets becoming sellers after a 101-win season. Andrew Friedman bemoans Dodgers' latest organizational failure, but hints at little change. Yahoo! The Dodgers have suffered back-to-back organizational failures, in Andrew Friedman's words. Based on what the club's top executive said Tuesday, however, the Dodgers don't seem to think they have any glaring organizational problems, either. That was the tone Friedman struck during an end-of-season news conference alongside general manager Brandon Gomez at Dodger Stadium, bemoaning the club's 3-game sweep against the Arizona Diamondbacks last week, a second straight shock exit for a team well accustomed to October disappointment, while offering few explanations or actionable off-season answers. Bug-out bags and survival training go mainstream. Wall Street Journal. Americans are increasingly stockpiling emergency supplies in the wake of natural disasters and global events. This is in response to both supply shortages experienced during the pandemic and a greater awareness of the vulnerability of supply chains in general. According to a survey by financial services company Finder, a third of U.S. adults surveyed said they spent an average of $149 on items such as non-perishable food, medical supplies, and water in the past year. This is up from 20% who did so in 2020. Surveys and increased sales of prefabricated disaster kits indicate that Americans are now more likely to keep emergency supplies on hand. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration reported 122 separate disasters in the U.S. between 2016 and 2022 that killed at least 5,000 people, causing over $1 trillion in damage. Social media activity related to disaster preparedness is also up, with likes, comments and shares on such posts increasing 47% in the 12 months to September 2023 from the previous year. Bosses have a problem, people are actually using sick days. Wall Street Journal. The number of sick days taken by U.S. workers has surged since the pandemic as employees feel more entitled to take full advantage of the benefits they've been given, according to the Wall Street Journal. Data from benefits software company Gusto show 30% of white-collar workers took sick days this year, up from 21% in 2019. The rise in sick days has also been attributed to shifts in the way many Americans relate to their jobs, such as younger workers being less loath to call in sick and teleworking, making it easier for workers to stay online while ill. 57 messages in one day. The group text has gone off the rails. Wall Street Journal. Group chats on messaging service WhatsApp can be both a convenience and a nuisance, according to a survey of 1,000 people. Group chats can feel like a part-time job with participants replying to everything or asking questions they could have answered themselves. Additionally, the chats can splinter into side message chains that complain about other members in the main thread. WhatsApp allows as many as 1,024 participants in a single message group, leading to the need for participants to scan the stream of messages for emergencies, even if they are not directly involved in a conversation. Supporting Ukraine is in U.S. interest, most voters say. Yahoo! A new poll released yesterday reveals that nearly 2/3 of U.S. voters believe that it is in the national interest to support Ukraine in its war against Russia. The poll, conducted by Quinnipiac University, reveals that 65% of voters think the U.S. should support Ukraine, whilst 28% disagree. Interestingly, 49% of Republicans believe that it is in the national interest, whilst 44% disagree. However, the poll also revealed that only 36% of respondents think that the US is doing enough to help Ukraine in the war, whilst 37% said that the country was doing too much, and 20% said the US was doing too little. U.S. Special Counsel withdraws subpoena on Trump's political fundraising group report. Reuters. U.S. Special Counsel Jack Smith has withdrawn a subpoena seeking records about fundraising by the Political Action Committee Save America, which is controlled by former President Donald Trump. The withdrawal indicates that Smith is scaling back at least part of his inquiry into the political fundraising work that fed and benefited from unfounded claims that the 2020 election was stolen. Save America is a Trump group that played a major role in raising money to support him as the frontrunner for the 2024 Republican nomination. Trump pleaded not guilty earlier this month to charges brought by Smith in federal court that he conspired to defraud the United States and deprive voters of their right to a fair election. The withdrawn subpoena may reflect a decision to narrow the scope of the investigation. Trump also faces 3 other indictments and has pleaded not guilty in all the cases. Ladies and gentlemen, 6 Voter here, your favorite observer from the 6 Degrees world. Let's dive into today's news. First up, we have the New York Knicks suffering a preseason loss to the Boston Celtics. Despite the defeat, Quentin Grimes put on a strong performance, showing promise for the Knicks' upcoming season. Perhaps the Knicks can bounce back in their next game and give us a taste of what they're capable of. In other sports news, Jacob deGrom, the former ace for the New York Mets, has pushed back against rumors that he wanted out of New York. He expressed surprise at the Mets becoming sellers after a successful 101-win season. It seems like there might be some miscommunication or misunderstandings going on here. Let's hope both parties can find common ground and clear the air. Moving on to the Los Angeles Dodgers, their recent playoff exit has led to some soul-searching within the organization. Andrew Friedman, the Dodgers' top executive, acknowledged the team's organizational failures but didn't provide many concrete answers for improvement. It's a tough pill to swallow for Dodgers fans, but hey, at least they have some time to regroup and come back stronger next season. Now, let's talk about bug-out bags and survival training going mainstream. It seems that Americans are becoming more aware of the importance of emergency preparedness, especially in the face of natural disasters and supply chain vulnerabilities. People are stockpiling essential supplies and even investing in prefabricated disaster kits. It's always better to be safe than sorry, right? In an interesting twist, it turns out that U.S. workers are actually using their sick days more frequently. The pandemic seems to have shifted the mindset around sick leave entitlement, with more employees feeling comfortable taking time off when they need it. It's a sign of changing work dynamics and perhaps a step towards a healthier work-life balance. Now, let's tackle the topic of group chats on WhatsApp. While they can be convenient, they can also be a bit overwhelming and time-consuming. Participants often find themselves bombarded with messages, some of which could have been answered by a simple Google search. And let's not forget about those side message chains that can quickly turn into a gossip fest. So, next time you find yourself in a never-ending group chat, remember to take a deep breath and decide whether it's worth your time and energy. Shifting gears to international news, a poll reveals that a majority of U.S. voters believe it's in the national interest to support Ukraine in its war against Russia. This sentiment is shared by both Democrats and Republicans, although opinions differ on whether the U.S. is currently doing enough to help Ukraine. It's a complex situation, but it's heartening to see Americans recognizing the importance of standing with Ukraine in this difficult time. Lastly, there's an update on the investigation into former President Donald Trump's political fundraising group. The U.S. Special Counsel has withdrawn a subpoena seeking records about the fundraising activities of the Save America PAC. This development suggests a potential narrowing of the investigation's focus. It's a story that continues to unfold, and we'll keep you updated on any further developments. That's all for today's news roundup, folks. Remember, the world is full of surprises, and it's our job to make sense of it all. As always, I'm here to provide a unique perspective and a sprinkle of humor. Now, it's your turn. What are your thoughts on today's stories? Share your ideas, questions, and comments, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the 6 Degrees world. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.